And we're back for our weekly PFL predictions here on the channel. This is PFL number 2. We've got the women's flyweights and the bantamweights today going at it. And last week, we went perfect on the card. 8 for 8 on the first PFL World Tournament card. We had Jason Jackson in the main event, and we hit on everything on that card. So looking to build more momentum on this card again and try to go undefeated on this one. So folks, before we get into the PFL predictions, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more MMA predictions here on the channel. We're doing our weekly UFC predictions, of course, with UFC 314 this week. Volkanovski and Lopez in the main event, as well, obviously, as this video you're watching right here. We have the GFL coming up later in the year as well, so make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible, so make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and leave a like. Also, on the other channel, Greedo Plays, we do daily MLB best bets and our daily NBA predictions. Okay, before we get into the predictions, let's look at the brackets because it's important, because obviously they got rid of the season format. It is just 8-man brackets now. And in the bantamweight division, we've got Leandro Higo taking on Josh Rettinghouse, Jake Hadley taking on Matthias Mattos, Kasumov taking on Justin Wetzell, Francisco Nuzzi taking on Mando Gutierrez, and in the women's flyweight division, you got Tyler Santos versus Juliana Velasquez, Jenna Bishop taking on Kana Watanabe, Liz Carmouche versus Laura Joanne, and Elora Dana taking on Diana Avsaragova. I always butcher her name. But anyways, those are the two 8-man brackets. As we go on to the first of our 10 fights tonight, we start off in the women's flyweight division with the alternate fight, Katrina Shakalova taking on Saraya Orozco. I'm going with Shakalova to win the fight. Butchered her name the first time around. We're going with the Ukrainian here. 8-2 professionally, taking on the killer queen, Saraya Orozco. Orozco isn't very good. She's 8-6, lost her last fight to Sumiko Inaba in the PFL, on the PFL regular season card, which makes you wonder, where the hell is Sumiko Inaba? I don't know. You'd think she'd be in this tournament, but regardless, Orozco coming off a loss to Inaba. Prior to that, back-to-back wins in Lux, but I don't really rate that all that highly. Lost to Silvana Gomez Juarez back in 2019, former UFC fighter. Lost to Kanako Maruta in Horizon back in 2019. And for Shakalova, this is a fighter who is pretty solid on the ground. She has, grappling experience. Lost her last fight to Aspen Ladd in Bellator. It is what it is. Beat Danya Silva before that. And prior to that, multiple submission victories over there on the regional scene. Again, fighting in MMA Federation. Who knows how good the talent is over there. It's a European regional, and I think Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. Poland, excuse me. But Shakalova, I think, should be able to win this one. We've seen Orozco taken down multiple times before in her career. Hell, I mean, Maruta got it with her Von Flue choke back in the day, but I think it's a victory Shakalova should be able to get. And who knows if we even get this fight coming on Friday, because if anything, we can take anything away from last week, is that the card's always changing, right? I mean, we ended up not even having the alternate fights last week. But if there is a replacement needed, I think it's going to be Shakalova. Shakalova winning the fight by decision over Orozco. I think her grappling is going to do her wonders in this fight, and I'm going with the Ukrainian to win this one again by unanimous decision. Orozco's got 6 losses and 8 wins. That's not going to cut it. Let's go on to our second fight of the night, and we go to the bantamweight division. Here is the backup and replacement fight, or the alternate fight for this weight class. We got Marceli Alves taking on Vilsan Ndregjoni. I'm going with Alves to win this fight, and I'm taking him to win this fight by second round TKO. There it is. I think he outstrikes Vilsan in this fight. He's taken on Ndregjoni, who trains out of New Jersey, but from Albania. This is a guy who is going to try to go in there, and he'll mix it up with you. He can grapple, but he can also strike as well. At the same time, I think there's a lot of opportunity for Alves to knock him out. Alves 1-1 in Bellator, lost his last fight to Sarjan Kamidov by unanimous decision, but beat Jarrell Hodge before that by first round knockout. It's a good victory. Prior to that, he was the Jungle Fight champion. Racked up a couple knockouts over there. He got submitted by Luan Lacerda back in 2022, but I don't think Vilsan's going to go in there and sub him. I think he's got decent wrestling. Obviously, again, the striking is where he's going to try to win, but I don't think he's able to submit Alves, so I think we're fine there. I think we see primarily a striking fight. Again, Vilsan's a guy who's fought in multiple various regional promotions. We were looking at UAE Warriors, Fury, CFFC, was the CFFC champion back in 2023. I believe he vacated the championship, if I'm not mistaken, because he never lost over there. But this guy does have heavy hands. I just think Alves, though, has been on this level for a little bit. He's, fought in Bellator twice, picked up a huge first-round knockout against Jarrell Hodge, and I do think Vilsan does leave a lot of opportunities for himself to get knocked out. And also, Alves is only 25 years old. He is kind of small for the weight class. He's 5'4", and, Vilsan is 5'7", but the much younger guys, Alves, Vilsan is 33, Marceli Alves is 25, and I find it really funny, real quick, Look at Vilson's Topology page. There's CM Punk. That's hilarious. Pepsi Phil. Anyways, I'm going with Marceli Alves to knock out Vilson in the first round. I think, again, the Albanian I think he's talented, but I just think Alves is going to catch him at some point in this fight, and I'm going second round TKO win for Marceli Alves to be the official alternate for the Bantamweight division. We move on to our third fight of the night, and now we get into the tournaments themselves. So we start things off in the Flyweight division. Get ready for a lot of decisions, guys. Let's get ready. We start with Elora Dana versus Diana Avsaragova. This, believe it or not, is the toughest fight, I think, personally, to predict on the entire card, just because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to expect out of Elora Dana. This is a fighter coming in from Jungle Fight where they have decent talent. Sometimes you get really good fighters at Jungle Fight, and then you just get fighters who completely lay an egg when they get to the big stage. For Dana, right, coming off a second round TKO win in Jungle Fight, retaining her championship. She's been champion there for a little bit, but has not fought in about 11 months. Was supposed to defend her championship earlier this year. Fight got canceled, and now here she is in the PFL. And she's taking on Diana, who is 4-1 in Bellator, but look at her wins. A 1-2 Tara Pagano. Tara Pagano is now 0-4. She went to King of the Cage, she started losing even more. A split decision victory over Gabriela Golfin, who is now 5-7, still trying to make it out of LFA. A win over Kyra Batara by unanimous decision. That's an 8-5 fighter, not putting anything into that. And then Alejandra Lara, she beat her by split decision. Alejandra Lara in the Big 2025 does not move me. She's fighting Aspen Ladd in the GFL. That should be something. And then I lost to Justine Kish. God. Why isn't Justine... I don't think Justine Kish is very good, but shouldn't she be in this tournament over Agasoravara? Because she just beat her? I don't know. Taking Elora Dana to win the fight. I think she grapples Diana a lot in this one. I think she just gets her down to the ground. Again, don't bet on this fight. This is, I think, personally, the toughest fight to predict, just because I don't know what we're going to get out of Elora. Yeah, she's looked good in Jungle Fight. She's hunted submissions. She's shown really good grappling, and her takedowns aren't actually that bad either. But what the hell are we going to get now in the PFL, right? I mean, again, it's great you're beating these Jungle Fight fighters, but I don't know. For as much as we've crapped on Diana, she has fought in Bellator for a little bit now, but at the same time, you can make the case Elora's wins are better than Diana's victories. I will be honest, defending the Jungle Fight Championship. I mean, who has Diana beat other than Alejandra Lara? Exactly nobody. She beat, I just rattled off a couple fighters who now are deep in the negative in terms of records. So, I don't know. I'm taking Elora Dana to win the fight. I would go submission, but I'm not going to, just because it's women's MMA and it's win in advance at this point. It's not like we're fighting for points anymore. I'm going to take Elora Dana to win the fight by unanimous decision. Actually, probably split decision, honestly. But give me Dana by decision. Do not bet on this fight. I don't know. I think it's the hardest one to predict. Next up, we stay in the women's flyweight division. Kana Watanabe, Jenna Bishop. I do actually think this is fairly easy to predict now. Kana Watanabe should beat the brakes off of Jenna Bishop. So Jenna Bishop made the playoffs last season, right? She got gifted a very easy bracket, let's just be honest. She had fought one time in Bellator, picking up a win over Elena Kaliandu. She beat Lara Joanne as well. But anyways, she goes into PFL, they give her Chelsea Hackett. Okay, well, Chelsea Hackett's not very good. We knew that. I literally said that going into the show. I said Chelsea Hackett's got no grappling. I watched her on the Contender Series. She's a pretty good striker, well, kind of, but she's not very good at grappling. And obviously, Jenna Bishop submitted her in the first round. I'm just saying we called Chelsea Hackett's going to go fight Dakota Ditcheva next, and what happened? Where's Dakota Ditcheva right now? I don't know. Anyways, hopefully on her way to the UFC. Jenna Bishop then gets into the playoffs. She loses her next fight to Taila Santos. A much closer fight than it should have been. Taila Santos was kind of just didn't care, just because she knew she was going to the playoffs regardless. So she tried to take as the least amount of damage as she could. Now, not like Jenna Bishop's going to hurt her, but literally Taila Santos took no chances in that fight, because that's how the playoff format was, and I get it. Okay, well, Jenna Bishop then goes to the playoff. She's matched up against Dakota Ditcheva, and she gets knocked out in the first round. So she went 1-2 last year in the PFL, still got 3 fights, and went to the playoffs, just because she got to fight Chelsea Hackett in the first round, and she subbed her. Kana Watanabe actually missed the playoffs, but her route was a lot harder. She had to fight Shanna Young at her first fight, and then she fought Liz Carmouche. She was winning the first 14 and a half minutes of that fight against Liz Carmouche until she got subbed. She was on top. Liz Carmouche gets an armbar, fight over with 8 seconds left. Carmouche was going to miss the playoffs, but she ends up submitting Watanabe. The PFL wants Carmouche gone, trust me. But actually, this bracket doesn't really show that. We'll get to Carmouche later. Watanabe, again, her only really big losses ever in Bellator/PFL have been Liz Carmouche. Yeah, Lima Leah McFarland, I think you can definitely make the case Watanabe won that fight. It was a split decision win they gave to Lima Leah, who's now in GFL as well. The first Carmouche fight was crazy because Carmouche actually knocked her out. She blitzed her and knocked her out in 35 seconds. Standing TKO is insane. But other than that, Kana Watanabe submitted Denise Keelholtz. She beat Veda Ortega. She beat Shanna Young. And sure, she lost to Carmouche twice. I don't think Jenna Bishop's going to do anything to really affect Watanabe. I expect Watanabe to outstrike her, and I honestly expect her to outgrapple Jenna Bishop too, as long as she doesn't get caught in a sub, which I think Watanabe has had to learn her lesson by now. She will beat up on Jenna Bishop because Watanabe is going to be the only fighter that's going to actually throw punches in this fight, or at least land punches in this fight. So I think it's a fairly easy pick. I'm going Kana Watanabe to win this one. I don't mind, I don't mind this win at all. She's going to go on to fight probably Taila Santos or Juliana Velasquez next. Whoops. Because I think the other side of the bracket is definitely easier with Dana now fighting the winner of Joanne and Carmouche. We'll get to that though as we go. I'm taking Jenna Bishop to lose to Kana Watanabe. Give me Watanabe by decision. Next up, we move to the flyweight division. Our first, we go to the Bantamweight division. Don't know why it says flyweight on the screen. Our first tournament fight here between Mattos and Jake Hadley. I'm going Jake Hadley, making his PFL debut. Former UFC fighter, went 3-4 over there. I found it a little bit interesting that they cut him. I get it. He lost to Cameron Smotherman in a fight that he was a -500 favorite. He lost the fight by unanimous decision. It's a fight that, again, he was expected to go out there and win. But who knows what Smotherman does in the UFC. His wins in the promotion were Carlos Candelario, Malcolm Gordon, and Callum Loughran, which Loughran, good win, gets it by decision. Loughran actually coming off a win over Nathan Fletcher, which he most definitely did not win, but they gave it to him. So, not a bad run, honestly, for Jake Hadley. I kind of saw it coming, though, I'll be honest, him getting cut from the UFC. If he wasn't, the guy there, and if he wasn't, rattling off a bunch of wins in a row, I did see it coming just because I remember when Hadley got signed to the UFC, he missed weight in the Contender Series against Mitch Raposo. Sean Shelby and everyone hated him except for Dana White. Dana White wanted to bring Hadley in. He didn't really care that Hadley was being a dick around the Apex or around the PI and whatnot, and missed weight. He still wanted him in the promotion. He beats Mitch Raposo, obviously, and then loses his first fight right away to Alan Nascimento in a fight that he's a -210 favorite in. He did win back-to-back fights after that, but it didn't surprise me that he's cut. I don't think Dana really gives a crap about Jake Hadley anymore. They took him to the UK a couple times. Doesn't matter to him anymore, honestly, Dana. And, Sean Shelby runs all the matchmaking anyway. He probably said, you know what? We're just going to get rid of this guy. Dana probably had no objections to it. So now he's here in the PFL. He gets Matthews Mattos in this fight. It's a very winnable fight. Originally, Hadley was going to get Sarvjan Kamidov, which I thought he was going to lose, I'll be honest. That felt like the PFL trying to bring in a UFC guy and say, you know what, our talent's better. But now they had to, pivot and go Mattos. I think Hadley's going to beat him. Mattos doesn't really blow me away. His 2 wins in Bellator, CJ Hamilton, Richard Palencia, not horrible victories. The Palencia victory, obviously, I think better than the CJ Hamilton win. Lost 2 fights in Bellator as well, though. They are Magomed Magomedov and Kasumov, and then back in ACB, lost to Piotr Jan. It's just there's no activity out of Mattos. He fights literally once a year. Jake Hadley should be able to, I think, have his way on the ground in this fight. I know Mattos does have decent submission skills, but I think Hadley's just the all-around better fighter. Mattos is taking this on somewhat short notice. He just switched opponents because, this is weird because he withdrew from the Nuzzi fight, and then all of a sudden he gets rebooked. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to take Jake Hadley to win. I'm going to take him to win this one by decision. I think Hadley's just better all around than Mattos, personally. Next up, we move to another fight in the women's flyweight division, Liz Carmouche versus Alara Joanne. I'm going Liz Carmouche, and I don't really think it's particularly close, personally. I think Carmouche runs right through Alara Joanne. I know Carmouche is 41 years old, and I don't know how many wins she has left. Let's just be honest. When we look at the bracket, guys, Liz Carmouche is probably going to the finals. Just going to be honest. The way I'm seeing things, and I don't want to spoil the main event, but I think the entire point of this bracket is to get Taila Santos through the entire thing. She beats Liz Carmouche in the finals, basically winning the Bellator championship of sorts, right? Because, you know, Liz Carmouche lost to her last year, so if Taila Santos beats Carmouche 2 years in a row, you can actually promote Taila Santos as a somewhat credible title challenger for Dakota Ditcheva, because it's really Ditcheva's last challenge in the PFL. Or if anybody else wins, obviously you want them to beat Carmouche in the final, because she's been the Bellator champion for forever, and she's got a lot of experience under her belt. So I think that's what the PFL is aiming to do, and also probably because they owe Carmouche fights. But we can't get Patchy Mix in the PFL, but we're watching Liz Carmouche instead. Great. Anyways, I think Carmouche runs right through Alara Joanne. I don't know what Alara Joanne has for her. I'm just going to be honest. Went 1-1 the PFL season last year, lost to Taila Santos, beat Shanna Young. Who cares? Liz Carmouche is going to take her down and hold her down. And it's going to be really boring. Carmouche is going to dominate the fight on the ground, though. I don't think it's particularly close. At no point in Alara Joanne's career has she been on Liz Carmouche's level, even close. And I know Liz Carmouche is 41 years old, but that shouldn't change a damn thing about her fighting in a 12-9 fighter in Alara Joanne. She trains at Pitbull Brothers, but I'm not moved at all. She gets ragdolled. She gets subbed a lot. Liz Carmouche should be able to, again, have her way on the ground. This is not a close fight. This is probably the easiest one to pick on the entire card, except for possibly the main event. But Liz Carmouche should dominate. I am going to go decision with Carmouche here, just because I don't trust a 41-year-old Liz Carmouche to get a finish anywhere. She did submit Kana Watanabe, but she absolutely needed that one. I feel like Carmouche is just going to try to coast to a decision here, knowing the tournament format. You just got to be ready for your next fight. Why risk a submission if you could just have top control time for 15 minutes? I'm serious. That's how this fight's going to go. Give me Liz Carmouche, the first ever UFC women's fighter to make the walk, to win this fight against Alara Joanne by unanimous decision. Let's go on to the main card. We have 3 fights in the Bantamweight division. The main event is back at women's flyweight. We start things off with Kasumov taking on Justin Wetzell. Justin Wetzell's picture is so goofy. I don't know what, that's his thing. Is this like Halo? I don't know. I never played Halo. What's that on his face? Hopefully this isn't like insensitive and something like a medical thing. I really don't think it is. Yeah, I hope it's not. Anyways, Justin Wetzell gets Kasumov. So Wetzell's been around the regional scene for a while, right? He fought in an LFA main event in his last fight. He beats Bekzad Uzanov by unanimous decision in a 3-round fight. But this is a guy who's been around for a while. He's fought in LFA. He's 4-1 in that promotion. He's 33 years old, finally getting his big break into a big promotion. He fights out of Elevation Fight Team with Corey Sandhagen and whatnot. But yeah, this is a tough fight because you get Kasumov, who's just going to try to go in there and grapple you for 15 minutes. Again, it might not be the most exciting pick, guys, but this is what happens, right? Mavlid Khabilov actually had a very fun fight against Jeremy Kennedy, and I think again I need to put Khabilov away from these kind of wrestler build guys. That's what he is, but I don't know. I don't think Kasumov is the most entertaining. He doesn't really do much on the feet. He just grapples, and he's got a great submission game. Maybe I don't want to compare him to Hizriev because this just not they don't fight kind of the same. Kasumov's gonna wrestle though, and really I don't know if Wetzell has an answer. Justin Wetzell in the regional scene. Good striking. He's got a knockout win over Askar. He's a plus 240 dog in that fight. A bunch of wins in LFA and whatnot. Again, the striking is there, but what's going to happen when you got a Russian shooting on your legs for 15 minutes? It's tough, No amount of elevation can prepare you for that. It's going to keep you in the fight, obviously, late and might give you a late fight surge, but again, I think Kasumov just wrestles the entire fight, and I don't think there's much that Wetzell can do. Yeah, again, if he can catch him, sure, but Kasumov should be able to win this one. You look at what he's done recently, right? Two wins in a row in Bellator. Gets a really good victory over Josh Hill. Josh Hill, I know, again, Kasumov was supposed to win that fight, and Josh Hill is old. He's 38 now. He's been around for a while. Just fought an octagon and lost. That's a good victory of a guy who's been a veteran and fought a lot of big fights over the course of his career. Kasumov barely gets him, but still beats him by decision. And then Mattos, who we talked about earlier, right? He's fighting Jake Hadley. Good win for Kasumov. Pretty unanimous decision. Wasn't really close. Well, it was a clear decision victory for Kasumov. So I think he beats Wetzell. Unless Wetzell catches him, there's really no hope for him. Originally, it's supposed to be Ciaran Clark versus Kasumov. So, yeah, Wetzell's taking this on short notice as well. Finally gets the call to the big show, but Kasumov should be able to take this one fairly easily. Give me Kasumov by decision. We go now to our other bantamweight fight. We got 2 more, but anyways, Francisco Nuzzi takes on Armando Gutierrez. This is a big-time fight, and this should honestly be co-main eventing rather than Leandro Higo, Josh Rettinghouse. Nuzzi's going to destroy Mando Gutierrez. And again, it's not particularly close. This Nuzzi might be the best guy they have at bantamweight. I'm a little bit concerned about him fighting Kasumov in the second round because that's ultimately where we're getting to. I don't know. Leandro Higo's very good as well. He was supposed to fight Magomed Magomedov, who was definitely going to win this entire thing. But Nuzzi does have a lot of potential. He does. This guy is solid. Nuzzi is 28 years old. Again, finally in his prime, you can say. Did not fight in 2023, though, or 2024. But when he does fight, he is very solid. In 2022, or 2023, he did win his first fight in PFL Europe by head kick in the first round in 2 minutes. Was supposed to fight Friends Malabo in the next round of the tournament. Had to withdraw. It was booked multiple times in Bellator. Fight never happened. And now here he is against Mando Gutierrez. Mando Gutierrez, I don't want to call him a can, but he's not really... I don't think he's PFL level, which is... I don't know if that's harsh. I don't think Mando Gutierrez has ever won a big fight. I'm just going to be honest with you. He's fought in LFA, but that was only back in 2020. He gets a shot at the Contender Series. He's the guy that Raul Rosas beat at 17 years of age. So, you know, no disrespect to the guy, but you let a 17-year-old beat him. That sucks. It just does. He was 25 in the prime of his career, and he lost to, you know, a 17-year-old. He then goes on The Ultimate Fighter, loses his first fight by knockout to an old Cody Gibson, so he can't beat the 17-year-old, can't beat the 35-year-old. Then he winds up fighting Cameron Sutherman on Fury, loses the fight by jumping knee knockout in the third round, and now he's won back-to-back fights over a 15-27, now a 15-34 Eric Vo, who just fought Tyson Nam. What? And then he beats Joji Goto on Deep by split decision. And now he's in the PFL. I'm sorry, this is a Francisco Nunzi first-round knockout. This is all this is, guys. I'm just going to be honest. This is a first-round knockout. This is to generate hype around the Italian, and it's to hype him up for his fight against Kasumov. Because after he wins, they're going to bring Kasumov back into the ring with a smart cage, if they're calling the ring that anymore, the cage that anymore. And they're going to square these two guys off, right? Like what they did with Thad Jean and Jason Jackson. This is the bantamweight's version of that fight. It's not nowhere near the amount of hype, but they're going to hope that Nuzzi wins this fight against Kasumov, just like how they are praying Thad Jean beats Jason Jackson. Like, I mean, Ray Sefo might jump into the octagon, sorry, in the cage himself, and try to beat Jason Jackson up because they want Thad Jean to win that fight so bad. Thad Jean and Dakota Ditcheva are their young stars. They're probably going to lose Ditcheva, though. Maybe they'll lose Thad Jean in a year as well. Anyways, give me Francisco Nuzzi to beat Mando Gutierrez. He's going to catch him in the first round. This is, again, just made up for Nuzzi to win. Nuzzi first round knockout. Let's go on to the co-main event of the evening. I don't know why this is the co-main event. Guys, Josh Rettinghouse, Leandro Higo is just such a weird fight. Not because, I don't know who's going to win. Leandro Higo is 100% going to win this fight. I just don't know how Josh Rettinghouse got a call into the PFL. He's not that good. I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter. He comes in The Ultimate Fighter, by the way. He fought an M1 prior to that. He loses to Sergey Morozov for the championship. He gets brought in for the Ultimate Fighter, lose to Brady Hiestand. They build up that entire fight between him and Hiestand with the selling point that, they're friends, they're good buds in the house, but now they gotta fight. And it wasn't a very good fight, but Hiestand wins. Actually, it wasn't a bad fight, but Hiestand wins it by decision, okay? Hiestand, obviously still in the UFC. He's 3-1 in the promotion. It is what it is. Rettinghouse then goes to XMMA, wins the fight by first round knockout, goes to Conquest of the Cage to fight an 18-38 fighter, wins it by rear naked choke in the first round, goes to FAC in Kansas City, wins the fight by split decision, and he's coming off of a victory in Total Fight League over Solomon Jones by first round knockout, who was 1-4, and guys, I have no disrespect to Solomon Jones, but this is what Solomon Jones looks like. Okay, anyways, we now get Rettinghouse versus Leandro Higo. I'm pretty obviously going with Leandro Higo. Rettinghouse, don't let these knockouts confuse you. His striking's not very good. All right, just don't. He's fighting bad competition. This is a grappler who's going to try to put you on your back. I don't think Leandro Higo lets him do that. Leandro Higo has a very good grappling game, and the only guy recently that we've seen out grapple him is Danny Sabatello. Recently, I'm talking about the last 5 years. Sabatello's the only guy to out-grapple Higo. That was a 5-round fight, and that was extremely difficult for Higo because that's just how Sabatello fights. Now, Sabatello really never came out to be anything huge. He's going to Ryzen, which I think is not a bad move for him. I would have liked to see him in GFL, if I'm being honest. Yeah, the Italian gangster really didn't live up to the hype, but he beat Damone Blackshear once in Titan FC, man. If he just beat Ralphie and Stotts, man, things would have changed. He had a draw in the PFL in his last fight. Yeah, pretty bad. Anyways, so the only guy we've seen out grapple Leandro Higo is Danny Sabatello. And we know at Sabatello's best, yeah, that's what he can do. Back-to-back victories for Higo. Beats Nikita Milikov, really good win, and then beats James Gallagher, a fight that he wasn't supposed to win, but he beats Gallagher by unanimous decision, or I guess they were even in that fight, odds-wise. But Higo now in this spot. We actually had Higo to beat Gallagher. But anyways, he was supposed to fight for the Bellator Championship, right? The fight against Gallagher was a number one contenders fight, and he was supposed to fight Patchy Mix at a Bellator Champion Series card last year in Paris. That got canceled. I mean, what's going on? Like, where is Patchy Mix? Where is Baki Chamsudanov, who was supposed to be the co-main event in that card? They let him go to Aries? No shot. Where is Cedric Doumbé? Like, where are these guys? What is the PFL doing? They let Baki Chamsudanov go back to Aries. Are you kidding me? He's fighting for the Aries Championship against an 10-1 Thiago Lima. Why isn't the UFC picking up Chamsudanov? What is going on? He beat Cedric Doumbé. I know, again, it was a splinter in the foot, but still, that fight was close. Anyways, Leandro Higo's going to beat Josh Rettinghouse. How does Rettinghouse win? I don't know. Higo's a better grappler. I know he's old, but he's a better grappler. He's a better striker. Rettinghouse has no chance. This is a squash match. Rettinghouse is just not very good. So, compared to Leandro Higo, give me Leandro Higo by unanimous decision. Next up, main event, Tyler Santos, Juliana Velasquez. Tyler Santos wins. This is probably the biggest layup on the entire card. Santos is only minus 350 favorite. I'm not telling you to lay that money, but Juliana Velasquez does not offer anything for Tyler Santos. Juliana Velasquez, right, very good jiu-jitsu player. That's what she does. That's going to be no challenge for Tyler Santos, who has pretty solid jiu-jitsu in her own right. The only thing stopping her from becoming world champion in PFL, obviously, is Dakota Ditcheva. And I don't think she's ever going to be able to climb that mountain of Dakota Ditcheva, if we're just being honest. Ditcheva's really good, guys. She is. Santos will beat Juliana Velasquez pretty easily. It's just a matter of if she wins it by decision or knockout. I'm going decision. I think it's going to be ultimately kind of a boring fight because it will be Juliana Velasquez shooting the entire fight, trying to get the fight down to the ground. I think it's just going to be Santos fighting off those takedowns and just outboxing her at range. Again, it's win in advance in this tournament. You don't need to fight for finishes. It's not like Santos has to chase a knockout like she was doing or chase a finish like she did against the Alara, or in the Alara Joanne fight with the 2024 season. She just has to find a way to win, and ultimately, I think she will do that fairly easily against Juliana Velasquez. Again, Velasquez doesn't offer her anything. Santos is a better striker. Yeah, Velasquez is slightly better jiu-jitsu, but then ask yourself the question, how the hell does Juliana Velasquez get the fight on the ground? She's going to pull guard? She's not going to take down Tyler Santos. So I don't think she stands a chance. And Tyler Santos has decent enough jiu-jitsu to the point where, okay, Juliana Velasquez is not going to throw up a submission off her back and sub her. It's just not going to happen. So I think this is a very easy fight to pick. I'm taking Tyler Santos by unanimous decision. It is kind of a anticlimactic end to the card, but let's just be honest, guys. This is the worst PFL card that they've ever put on. I'm not joking. In terms of name value, in terms of competitiveness, it's just one of the worst cards they've done. Next week, it gets a lot better, man, because look at this main card next week. Look at this card in general, man. I mean, Impa Kasanganay, Fabian Edwards, Alexander Shapley, Brent Primus, Gadzi Rabadanov versus Mark DeCasey, Mads Burnell, JJ Wilson, Dalton Rosta, Sadavu C, Silvera Shipman, Collard Davis, Jeffrey Ramazanov, Mirza Latif, Jordan Newman, Sergio Casio, Robert Watley. What a card. That's good stuff right there. I think they only did that because there's no UFC next week. Anyways, folks, we'll get to that in week after, by the way. Phil Davis is still fighting. He's going to fight Rob Wilkinson in the main event. Sign me up. Folks, thank you all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure you like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank you all for watching. And Mamba